Hello, welcome, and thank you for watching this month's Tarot Talk. I'm intuitive reader Bryan Stafford from Stafford Tarot, and today's Tarot Talk topic is going to be about simple spreads and card layouts. Now, before I get into that Tarot Talk topic, I'm just going to give some time for some viewers to join me on this live broadcast, and I'll talk a little bit about what's new at Stafford Tarot and some of the upcoming events to look forward to. And then I'll get into that Tarot Talk discussion. Now, if you're interested in seeing the sample readings, for example, if you're just watching this from my website, feel free to skip ahead in the video about 20-30 minutes, as I will be offering those free short remote readings in this broadcast to those who show interest in the chat during. So, what's new? First of all, check out my new podcast, Multidimensional Discussions, for the first episodes, which are now available, and so much more to come. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Deezer, Pandora, Odyssey, Amazon Music, and of course the RSS feed available on both of my websites, staffordtarot.com/podcast, as well as askagraywitch.com/podcast. Both of these websites have had a bit of an upgrade recently, so check them out. Lots available there. Thank you to everyone who has left testimonials in regards to my services and receiving readings from me. I really appreciate that. Have you had a reading recently? Well, check out my website where you can, there's a link there to leave your testimonial. You can leave a Google review if you'd like. And check out the other testimonials available, but let me know how it went at staffordtarot.com. If you'd like to keep more in touch with me, feel free to download the Stafford Tarot app, which is available through my website. There's a link there on the homepage, as well as the blog with helpful tips and suggestions. And even if you're interested to learn to do tarot for yourself, there are free video lessons available all on my website. All available there, staffordtarot.com. I really can't mention the website enough. There's just so much there to discover. If you're interested in tarot or other divination techniques and you're looking for a rabbit hole to jump in and fall down, check out that website, staffordtarot.com. Some of the upcoming events that I'm really looking forward to are the Full Moon Oracle Poll will be available on October 17th, 2024, so watch for that. Also available on my website. The Niagara Region Pagan Fest. I'm really looking forward to attending this annual event hosted by Purple Pentacle. This year it'll be happening on Saturday, October 19th, 2024. It's going to start around 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That's happening in Fireman's Park in Niagara Falls, Ontario. Then my monthly draw, the next monthly draw is going to be happening on Monday, October 21st, 2024. Check for it around 10 a.m. It's usually when I reach out to those who have won. So how do you get involved? You simply like, comment, or share any social media that mentions the draw, and you're automatically included. Before the draw time, I go through all of the social media that I've put out. I gather up all the names. I literally write them on a page, cut them out, put them in a hat, and draw them. I don't broadcast the actual drawing and winner, simply because sometimes people come to me for readings privately, and they're confidential, and so I respect that. And so if you've won the draw, watch your email and I will get back to you. I only get back to the winners. So if you don't hear from me on Monday, October 21st, just better luck next time. You can always get involved in the next draw. It does happen monthly. All those information is available on my website. I am going to be attending the SMC virtual gathering, which is happening on Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024 at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The link's available online. You just have to register. The registration is free, and it just helps avoid spammers or scammers getting into the getting into the gathering. And it's really just like-minded individuals getting together and sharing about each other's practices. It's a really nice of connecting event. And then towards the end of the gathering, I'm going to be offering some sample short mini readings. So check that out. I am receiving a slow connection warning. I do hope that that's not interfering with the broadcast. Then the next event that I'll be at is also in Niagara Falls, hosted by the Collective Unique Boutique and a collaboration with Lundy Manor Wine Cellars, is the Tarot, Taco, and Wine event. This sounds like a lot of fun. Check it out. It's going to be happening at the Lundy Manor in Niagara Falls on Thursday, October 24th, 2024. And the event's going to run from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time that day. And you can reserve and pre-book your reading. So all those details are available on my website. And you can also check out the social media pages for the Collective Unique Boutique. Then I'm going to be attending the Wicked Witches Halloween Market. I attend this event yearly, and it's hosted by Luna Events Canada. It's a 2-day market that's happening in Guelph at the Royal Canadian Legion, and it's happening on Friday, October 25th from 6 till 10 p.m., and then again on Saturday, October 26th from 4 to 9 p.m. So check that out. I'm really looking forward to my next Spirit Talk Live event starting on Saturday, November 9th, 2024. It's going to start at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on that date. And this is an online collaboration with all of the participants, everyone who comes to the Spirit Talk Live event. It's a Zoom event. And so everyone who comes to that will be able to collaborate online. I'm going to go through a little introduction about psychic mediumship and give an introduction discussion, as well as run the group through an activity where they will receive messages for themselves and deliver them to each other. It just affirms that during the workshop that anyone and everyone can do psychic mediumship, and we all have our own levels and abilities. It's a really fun workshop. It gets everyone involved. Check it out. That's happening Saturday, November 9th. Just reach out to me if you want more details. And the admission for that, I should just mention quickly that the admission for that is $25. So all the information is available on my website. And then my next Tarot Talk Live event is going to be happening Tuesday, November 19th, 2024. It's going to start around 8 p.m., similar to tonight. And that Tarot Talk is going to be about following your intuition. While you're within a reading, what do you follow? What do those inkling feelings mean? We're going to talk about that next time. But this Tarot Talk topic is going to be about simple spreads and cards used. At any time, if anyone has any questions about anything that I've said or mentioned, or even during the Tarot Talk discussion topic, just feel free to write it into the chat. Hi, Sheila. Thank you so much for joining. I do see you there. Hello. I see you saying hi. I appreciate that. Lets me know that it's working. Let me know how it sounds. Tonight's sound may be a little off. I couldn't get my microphone adjusted. I do hope it's coming through clearly. So thank you for that, Sheila. And if at any time, if anyone's interested in receiving one of the free remote readings, I do offer up to 6 free short remote readings during this broadcast later after the Tarot Talk. I can put your name down on a list. I do go in the order of that the names appear to me. If there are any delays in the chat, sometimes previously there's been about 20 or so 30-second delay in the chat, and so when you write in the message, it may take me a moment to see it come up. So if I'm just not hearing you, just be patient, or please feel free to repeat the message. Make sure I see it as it comes up. I do review the Tarot Talk Live event afterwards and respond back to anyone that I may have missed. If you feel like I've missed you in the chat, just please reach out to me through my website or through my Facebook page. Hi, Tamara. Thanks so much for joining. It's nice to see more and more people are coming on. So I'll get right into that Tarot Talk topic, and hopefully more will be able to join. And as I said, at any time, questions, write them in the chat, or if you're interested in a free reading tonight, just write interested in the chat and I will add you to the list. So tonight's Tarot Talk topic is about simple spreads and layouts. What does that mean? Well, first I'll just explain the difference between using a layout or spread and not using a layout or spread. And I can use the example of my short readings that I offer on these Tarot Talks do not follow a spread. They follow, it's just a dynamic reading, 3-card pull, and how the cards speak to each other is how I relate the messages. Hi Meg, thank you so much for being interested. I'm just going to write your name down. And anyone else who's interested, just let me know. Sheila, thank you. And I got 4 spots still available. When I'm doing dynamic readings, if I pull out 3 cards, for example, the 3 cards are going to just speak to me through the symbolisms and associations that I have with the cards. And how they speak to each other is how the messages go hand in hand and what I'm drawn to when I'm doing those readings. When I'm following a layout or spread, it could still be, because we're talking about simple spreads, it could still be like a 3-card pull, where the first card could represent something specific, the second card would represent something very specific, and the third card would represent something very specific, all different from each other. It's not necessarily like looking at the associations of the cards itself, but adding to that extra layer of the position in which it landed. So a really good example of that would be like a past, present, future pull. If you keep in mind while you're charging and shuffling the cards with that intention that is your layout, it is past, present, future. It could be done on a very general topic. What is involving today that is coming from my past? What is involving today in the present, and where does it lead into the future? It's a simple 3-card pull. 3 cards come out. First one represents something from the past. So then you would look at how that card's associations and symbolism speak to you, and you'd put that into a past tense reference. So a really good example I guess I could use would be if you know the Wheel of Fortune card. If there was fortune in your future and you just had to wait for it to reap that reward, there could be some patience or time required. If that shows up in the past, where you've been able to reap a reward in the past, or perhaps all the waiting was in the past, if it's in the present, it means a very different message to it, because now you're waiting to reap the reward, which would probably come to the future. And if it comes in the future tense, that's even more waiting, because it's in the future that you're waiting for to reap that reward. So see how it tweaks the message ever so slightly. And then you follow the way that those associations and symbolism speak to you throughout that, which can also alter and change the reading. Thank you, Tamara. Absolutely, I'll add you to the list. So far on the list, I have Meg, Sheila, and Tamara. So if you've written interested into the chat and I haven't seen you yet, just let me know. Otherwise, I have 3 more spots available for anyone who may be interested. So that's the difference between using a spread versus not using a spread. Now, there are many different ways and techniques to use spreads. Some spreads are done in a very structured approach. For example, as I said, the past, present, future, there's the structure right there. You know, first card means past, second card means present, third card means future. Then you can do dynamic spreads, which sort of change depending on how the reading goes. Now, I don't necessarily use dynamic spreads regularly, but I have used them for my own personal readings. I tend to keep a structured approach during my paid sessions and private sessions, simply because it's more in tune with what most expect from a reading, and it allows my clients or sitters to follow along with the reading itself and know what to expect moving forward if they're aware of the spread that I'm using, because I usually explain it freehand. So it allows for them to be involved in, whereas a dynamic reading is a little bit more, well, dynamic. And what that means is that, say the first card means a past situation that I'm dealing with. And then I would then pull two more cards to represent if it went positively or if it went negatively, and looking at the different aspects of perspectives from that situation. So then from those two cards, I could then pull again further. From the positive card could be the resolution. How did it get resolved in a positive way? And the negative card could be the resolution. And you change, the reading slowly changes the more cards that come out. It's dynamic in the sense that you can then ask questions and move to the next card for the answer, and then ask questions and move to the next card to the answer. So there's no structure involved. That's a very simple explanation, or a very simple example of a dynamic card reading. And there's different ways of doing dynamic card readings too, but I won't get too far into that because it starts to get complicated, and we're talking about just simple spreads and layouts. What else do I want to say? When you're using a structured layout, it's important to not read that dynamically. If you have an approach in your head, it's a structured layout, for example, simple layout, past, present, future, 3-card draw. You keep that in your head while you're shuffling and charging the cards, and the cards are expected to answer the past, the present, and the future perspective of your topic or subject on the table, or that you presented to the reading. In no way, excuse me, in no way do you want to pull signifier cards, during a structured reading. And what I mean by that is a signifier is a dynamic. It's what is called when you dynamically pull more cards to ask more questions in a reading. And it's appropriate to do that during a dynamic reading, but it's not necessarily appropriate to do that during a structured reading, because a structured reading should give you the information that you've asked for within the spread or layout that was used. What each segment stands for, or what each position stands for, and how it's read as the card lays into those positions is really important in a reading. And if you're not trusting the messages from the cards are no longer guiding you. If you're not going to trust that the cards will give you the messages that you need to hear, pulling out more cards and more cards to get more clarification simply shows that you may not be happy with what you've been told, or you're trying to get more clarity on something that's been made pretty clear because you've used a layout or spread. So you just want to make sure that you are aware of the type of readings that you're doing, and just be involved in how those readings generally go. And most books that come with a deck will give you a structured form of or technique of tarot to get started. And the reason for that is so that it doesn't get too complicated for someone who's just getting started. When you're just getting started with tarot, you want to make sure that you're using simple spreads. You don't want to get right into those complicated spread readings. 10 plus cards are on the table, and you're not going to really have the associations or symbolisms understood well enough to see how the cards interact with each other, let alone how they can change in the different positions. I would suggest starting off small. Starting off with simple spreads, and then working your way more towards a structured, larger reading, use of layouts or spreads. And then, if you're really interested to learn more about the dynamic reading, you can then look into that part. And that would be my suggestion, to go in that order, that route, because you really have to understand the meanings of the cards to do dynamic readings, because you don't have the spread or layout to guide you any further. Now, another thing I wanted to say about that is that trans-dimensional tarot reading is sort of a mix between structured and dynamic. So, for example, when I do a reading, I'm using one card for a certain intention from one deck, and then I'm moving to a completely other deck with a similar intention on the same topic or subject. And so within one reading, I can pull in the different dimensions of different decks for depending on the perspective or question or topic that's required. So that's dynamic, because the dynamic part is moving through the different decks. However, what's structured is that the topic or question doesn't change. It's always on the same topic or question. So there is no, it's not considered signifiers being added to the spread. And that can get a little complicated, but that's an example of how these different traditions and practices and techniques of readings can really overlap. As you get way more into it with more experience and practice, you'll understand the differences between them. I hope I've done a good enough job of explaining this and not getting it too confused, wrapped around my own head. There are some layouts and spreads available as examples on my website. If you check out the tips and suggestions blog in the blog section, there's tips and suggestions, and it lists them, all the different blog entries. If you look for the one that is labeled about expanding on layouts and spreads, I think it's actually called Layouts and Spreads Expanded. It gives you rough ideas, including gets into more complicated layouts and spreads, which you could see as example on how a 10 plus card spread or layout would look. And if you're interested to see a demonstration of the use of several tarot spreads, you can also look at previous Tarot Talk live event. I did one called Full Readings versus Short Readings. It was recorded on May 9th, 2023. And it gives, during that Tarot Talk live event, I gave free full readings and used layouts or spreads for the different readings to show examples of the differences between a short reading and a full reading. So check out that if you're interested. Tonight, I'm going to be offering the free short readings, just to clarify. If anyone has any questions, I'm just going to see if I've missed anything. Hi, Lindsay. Thank you so much. I saw that you would like a reading, and I've added you. Oh, my chat is jumping around. Elizabeth, thank you so much. I do see that you've asked for one too. And I have one more spot available. I'm just going to make sure I haven't missed anyone. Oh, hi, Alex. Thank you so much. I do see your message too. You'll be my last reading tonight. I have 6 readings tonight. Each reading takes about 15 minutes to do. So please just bear with us. Stay on the broadcast and watch the other readings if you'd like, or go get yourself a coffee in the meantime or a drink. But each reading will take about 15 minutes. So the list that I have so far is Meg, then Sheila, then Tamara, then Lindsay, then Elizabeth, then Alex. So because each one takes about 15 minutes, Elizabeth, you're going to have about an hour wait, and Alex, it may take about an hour and 15 minutes before I get to those names further down the list. I hope that makes sense. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. Oh, I do see Meg's question there. Oh, wait. So some people are experiencing me talking, but I'm not moving. I think the connection, there's a bit of disruption, unfortunately. And so hopefully it doesn't disrupt too much that people can't follow along. Hi, River. Thank you so much for asking. I did fill up my 6 free spots for tonight. What I can do, though, is I can add you to my free draw that's happening on, when's the draw? Monday, October 21st, 2024. And it is a 1 in 5 chance to win a free remote reading over Zoom. And so the difference between what I'm offering tonight, which is a bit more distant remote, is that I'm only receiving a question or topic, and I am just giving the readings based on that. Whereas in a remote reading over Zoom, you get the one-on-one interaction. You can ask questions throughout the whole reading. It's much more interactive. So I'll definitely put you down for my draw. Thank you, Meg, for your question. How many traditional spreads are there? There are so many spreads, and different techniques of readers will have different spreads to use as well. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Once I get into talking, my throat gets dry. The most common spread that's known that is available to most places is the Celtic Crook spread. It's usually the most well-known spread used, and it's the more standard tarot spread that's taught in most tarot books that come with the decks. So that's the more general one that's used. If you have gotten into learning your own tarot readings using a spread or layout, you may already be familiar with the Celtic Crook spread. It's a 10-card spread that's general. It's basically shaped like the Celtic Crooks with the staff on the side, and it looks at what works for you or the subject, what works against you, what grounds you, past, present, future, and then the external influences that are involved, like fears that you may have, influences of others, like loved ones around you, and then what you hope for out of the reading, and then a conclusion card. And that is sometimes I've seen it done different ways, where there's different positions used, or different ways of reading the positions, or different orders of the positions, but the layout is generally the same, 10 cards in that order, or roughly. But then there are different ways of using that spread. So there are so many different traditional ways to do tarot readings. What you really want to watch for is that someone is aware of how to use the reading that they're using. In no way do the positions change as the reading advances. That's more dynamic and less structured in a tarot reading, which is fine if that's what you're going for. But if you're looking for a structured layout to use, usually it's the layout that gets followed very specifically. Hi, Kevin. Thanks for your hello, and it's nice to see you here, too. I'm just reading some of the messages that have come up. So, if there's any questions about that whatsoever, other questions, just let me know. I really appreciate that question. And otherwise, we'll get started into those free readings. Meg, if you're on the call, I'll get started. And the way that I do my readings is I always start with a 1-card impression pull from this deck, and that's just going to tell me where Meg is sitting energetically in the moment. And then I'm going to move to this deck, and that's when I'll focus on a question or topic that you may have. If you have a question or topic that I can focus on, otherwise it can be left general. Quite often readings that are left general, the messages you need to hear are what come up. But I like to leave it up to anyone who I give readings to if they want to try and refine what they're looking for from the reading session itself. So Meg, if you have a question or topic you'd like me to focus on, just let me know, or let me know if you'd like it general. I'll watch for your message there, and I'm just going to start with your 1-card impression pull. General, absolutely. I saw that pop up there. So this is just going to tell me, Meg, where you're sitting energetically in the moment. And what I get for you, Meg, is the High Priestess card reversed. This usually comes up for someone who, if you had a task or a goal in mind and someone was going to tell you exactly how to get to that task or goal, you would not actually get there. It's almost like the expression that I like to use quite often is the journey is often the lesson itself. If you don't follow through with the lessons that lead you to the end of your journey, you're not going to get there, because you're not going to, like, if you just skipped to the end without learning the lessons, you wouldn't actually get there, because you need to learn the lessons along the way. That's what this card often represents. It's almost like if I told you, it wouldn't happen. So it seems to me, the impression that I get from this card for you in this impression pull, Meg, is that there's a lot maybe happening for you, and it may seem unknown and you're not really sure where it's headed. Let me know how that feels for you in your energy. I'm going to continue on with the 3-card pull. That's just going to let me know generally what cards you need to hear for yourself. Oh, thank you for clarifying, Meg, that makes sense to you right now. So 3 cards have come out, 1 higher arcana and 2 suits, a wand and a cup. Now, the higher arcana is the devil card, and I'm going to talk about that because the devil card often scares people a little. They think it's associated with evil or the devil or destruction, and it's absolutely not. What the devil card often represents in tarot structure is an adversary of some kind. Now, when the card comes out like this, it means that you're up against that adversary. Whereas if the card came out reverse, it would mean the opposite of that. Sorry. It would mean the opposite of that, and that you're no longer up against the adversary, and the adversary, you can now put that behind you. When it's this way, it means you haven't done that yet. You're still up against the adversary. The adversary has not been defeated. And so being up against this adversary can mean several things. Sometimes this adversary can be someone else, another person, someone who's not working with you in some way, or working against you somehow, or, you know, in an adversarial approach. Or it can be something within ourselves. We can be our worst enemy at times. We can be our own adversary. We can sometimes hold ourselves back. This card can come out for, like, if there's something that you need to work on, or something that needs to change or be defeated. Just keep that in mind. So up against some sort of adversary. Now, the next card I want to talk about is the 6 of Cups. It looks like this. I often call this the memories card. It usually references like memories of way back, like childhood memories, but it's coming across like memories being shared, like shared memories. So I don't know if this is memories of someone else, or maybe memories with the adversary, perhaps, because the cards are side by side. But I'm just, it's really about paying attention to the memories. If this is not associating with your past, you may be able to look in your past to see what references you can learn from this. For example, if you've been through a similar thing in your past, what did you learn from in that moment that can help you in this one? If this is referencing something from your past, there's definitely a connection with memories here. Now, the Knight of Rods is the 3rd card. And this is often about taking action upon action. Rods in tarot represent the actions themselves, and knights are the action takers in the court of tarot. So when you have the action taker taking action, it's usually really important action that's needed. What you need to keep in mind is that this card did not come out reversed. If it came out reversed, it would tell me you're unable to take these actions, or there's something stopping or preventing you from moving forward or taking this action. When it's this way, it means you're taking this action. So just know that you can do this. There shouldn't be anything stopping you unless yourself. Perhaps it's this adversary that's holding you back, or this adversary could be the reason for the action that's needed. Let me know your thoughts on that, Meg, and if you associate with these messages. I'm wondering how I can extend further. Given that there's this adversary involved, I'm wondering if it would be helpful to pull out my Zen deck. Now, my Zen deck works really well at describing the interactions of energies that are involved. And so, if I just focus on that in what's happening here, it may give a bit more information about this adversary. Oh, thank you for that confirmation, Meg, that this makes sense to you. I appreciate that, just knowing that I'm on the right track. So I'm just going to pull 3 cards from this deck and extend into the reading further. I want to know the energetic interaction that needs to happen here for you. So 3 cards, 2 higher arcanas, and a suit. The 2 higher arcanas are bookending this reading. I'm going to start at the suit and work my way to the 2 higher arcanas. I feel like they're speaking together, and so I'll talk about that. But this is the understanding card. Okay, the symbol tells me that it is a knight, and the color around the symbol tells me that it's like a sword. Excuse me. And when we take action, as knights do, when we take action on heavy thoughts and intellect, which is what swords represent in tarot, when we take action on heavy thoughts and intellect, it can often be a challenge moving forward. That's quite often looked at as sort of an argument or a freeing conversation, perhaps. But you can see what the card is imaging here is almost like a bird being set free, almost like the bars are being, one of the bars are missing and it was able to get through, and it's joining the other birds in the sky. And this is what I'm following in this. My intuition is really focusing on the way the bars have been removed and that bird is being freed. That's not always how this card comes across, but for you, I feel like that's the interaction that's needed. You need to be freed from some situation, or freed from some perhaps something on your mind, or being able to let it go, right? Now, the 2 cards that come side by side is the 10 and the 1. And what I like about this is that 10 and 1 in numerology are basically very similar to the same number. 1 is about spiritual development, and 10 is when there's a cycle that repeats itself in that development. Sometimes that cycle can hold us back. And it's the existence card and the change card. Now, the way these cards are speaking together, I think that you're working through something within yourself. I think that you're kind of finding your place in the universe and where you fit, and what your development is. And there's this potential in you. And then there's these changes that need to be made. I don't know if these changes are within you or without you or around you, but there's definitely these changes that are being made. And I'm getting the sense that they're connected. So I don't know if you're making changes to yourself, or you're looking at making changes in the way that you maybe something you believe in, or a fundamental structure of some kind. Let me know how that speaks to you, Meg. But that seems to be what the energetic interaction that's needed is. Being able to see where you fit in the universe, and making the changes that you need for yourself, and being freed from this whatever it is that you need to put behind you. Oh, thank you for that confirmation. Yes, completely, that this makes sense. Okay, thank you. What I notice about the cards that have come out so far is that this seems to be within you to resolve. The cards that have come out in these 3 cards here are really about, independent development, and I feel like you're in the center of these changes, and the bird being freed. It feels like development to me, like progress being made, and then the position that you're in now is almost like not knowing where to proceed forward, or not seeing this progress or development. Just make sure that you're celebrating whatever it is that you've achieved, Meg. Make sure that you're giving yourself that praise. Look back at the hard work you've done in this. I do think that there's a development that's been made, and you may not be acknowledging it with the High Priestess reversed. Now, another thing I want to mention just overall in this is that the Understanding card is considered a sword. The Knight of Rods is a wand, and the Cups, of course, is about emotion. You have emotions, actions, and thoughts, but your needs are not showing up. There's no pentacles. And I think it's just as important sometimes to look at what does show up as what doesn't show up, because what does show up are the messages you needed to hear. And I think it's important to note that you didn't need messages in terms of your needs. I think you understand what you need out of this. You may not see the direction you need to go, perhaps, but you certainly understand what you want out of this, or what you need for yourself. And that's why the pentacles are not appearing here. So it would say to me, if this adversary is within you, you're on your way to defeat it. If the adversary is within someone else, be confident, be secure in yourself, because I do see that as being a strength here, especially when the energetic interaction moving forward is about yourself and where you fit in the universe and the changes. Oh, you're very welcome, Meg. Thank you for that message. If you don't have any questions about the way this has come out, I'll just decharge the cards and move on to my next reading with Sheila. Sheila, if you're available, just let me know. And if you'd like a general reading, or if you have a question or topic you'd like to ask. And I'm just watching for any other messages that come up. And so I'll start putting the cards away. Okay, you're welcome, Meg. Thank you for clarifying that, no questions. So Sheila, if you're on the call, I will start your reading. I'll always start my readings, as I will each time, with a 1-card impression pull. Oh, there you are. Hello. And if you have a topic or question you'd like to ask, or leave general. And I'm just going to focus on your energy now and charge the cards with that intention. And I'm just looking for a 1 card that's going to describe that impression of your energy. Absolutely, I can focus on that. Now, I tried to pull 1 card and 2 of them came out, and so I can't ignore that. Excuse me. I need to go with that. I don't believe in coincidences in tarot. The Chariot card and the Knight of Wands has come out. They look like this, and these are very significant cards to come out. The Chariot card is about being the chariot driver. When you think about what it takes for a chariot race, for that driver to win the race, there are all sorts of goals and expectations for him in order to do that. If you think about it in terms of the chariot could have a broken wheel, it could have a sick mare. The driver has to steer properly. He has to use driving skills and racing skills in order to defeat his opponents and win the race. That's what it's about. It's about getting on task. It's about getting off to the race. It's about making sure that you have everything you need to do what you need to do. And then the Knight of Rods. Rods represent action, and knights are action takers, as I've already mentioned tonight. So this is about action that's really needed. There's action that's really needed, and you got to get on to the race and get going. The positive part about this, Sheila, is that if this card was reversed, it would mean that you'd have all sorts of issues in your way, or you would have all sorts of you'd have that broken wheel on your chariot, or you'd have that sick mare or horse that can't race fully, or there would be issues to resolve before you could actually get on to the race. So just know that you have what it takes. You can do this. You just have to get on to the race and take that important action that's needed. I'm going to leave those cards on the table and we'll just look at them as the reading proceeds. Now, Sheila, do you have a question or topic you want me to focus on? I didn't see if you said... Oh, yes, love. That's right. Okay, thank you. So I'm just going to focus on that. Olga, thank you so much for coming. If you'd like a reading, just let me know. Otherwise, don't be offering readings to other people who've come to the broadcast. I think it's a bit inappropriate. I absolutely believe in not performing ambush readings, which is what you're doing now, Olga Fonkham. So if you don't mind, if I see you keep popping up, I will block you. So getting back to Sheila. Sheila, I'm just focusing again into your energy and charging the cards with that intention. I'm focusing on love. And I'm just going to give a general reading on love. I feel like the cards are trying to get into a very specific order. So 3 cards have come out. Very interesting. They are all suits. You have Pentacles, Swords, and Cups. I'm just going to go in the order that they came out. This is the 10 of Pentacles reversed. It looks like this. And what it so often suggests is that there's some sort of disruption in the way that you've been putting your life together and the way that you'd like your life to see, like the way that you see your life in the future, or how you'd like to see your life the way it fits. When the card comes out this way, it means that you're in the process of putting your life together in the way that you see fit. So you can see here this person has their fancy robe, they're in this exotic garden, they have this unique pet, and they're eating this, you know, fruit. This is the way they envisioned their life, and so they've achieved that, you know, the way that they saw themselves in their lives. When it's reversed, it doesn't mean that you won't get there or that won't happen. It just means that there's difficulties or challenges along the way, or that things, you're still working on it. You know, these things are still being put together and changed and put the way that you'd like to see life fit. The next card is the 5 of Swords. It did not come out reversed, and it often represents a no win-win situation. This is often about, like, 5 in numerology is usually about a choice. I like to describe it as a journey from 0 to 10. And when you're at 5 in that journey, you have just as much effort to continue on to the goal as you do as turning around and going back to the beginning. So it's really a choice you have to make when you get to that middle point. And that's what this is really trying to say, is that there's a choice, and this is about a choice that's heavy on your mind. Usually that middle point, the reason why it shows a no win-win situation is when we have something heavy on our minds and we reach that middle point. If it's just as much work to get to the end as it is going back, it doesn't feel like a victorious. It doesn't feel like winning, even though it's victorious. And that's where this card's coming from. Now, the 5 of Cups reversed is what's next. This card represents putting a loss behind you. When the card goes like this, and it came out reversed, but I think explaining the card's meaning may be helpful. When the card comes out like this, it means being in that loss presently, looking at what emotionally has been spilled and what you emotionally has left in the symbolism of the cards itself, with cups representing emotion and tarot. And again, 5 being that halfway point. It's just as much work to figure it out and get to the goal as it is going back to the beginning. With this repetitive 5 of Cups, 5 of Swords, it's just telling me that it's really about a choice to be made. And because this was about love generally, Sheila, I think what it's really saying is that you have to make a choice for yourself. Is this the right time? Is this perhaps what you need? And the way that it's on your mind, is it going to be sort of worth it in the sense of the energy that needs to go through right now, or in the sense of the emotions in the same way? Is it going to be worth it with the amount of emotions going through right now? But with putting your life together, still putting your life together in the way that you see fit. I think what the cards are really saying is that there's some things that you need to work on for yourself first, and then that's when it will be a time when love will aspire. You can see here with the energy that you're in now, I think that's what this is describing, is the energy you're in now and the things that need to be worked on in order to get to that state of love. Quite often, tarot, if you ask a yes or no question, for example, it won't tell you yes, absolutely, or no, absolutely not. It'll tell you how to get to your yes or how to get to your no, or what would it look like if this. And I think what it's showing us here is what it looks like now in terms of what is needed for you to get to that state of love, or that perhaps when it's ready, when it's time for. And what I wanted to mention is just with the way that it's come across in your energy now, it seems like there's a lot that needs to happen, right? Getting on the go and getting to these important actions. And then what these are really saying is, with putting that loss behind you and working out these heavy thoughts and what's happening for you, and putting your life together in the way that you see fit. If you can focus on flipping some of these cards around, for example, if you start to make changes or do what you need in order to put that life together in the way that you envisioned, that's when this card flips around and it's sitting like this and you're sitting in those changes. Or looking at this like a no win-win situation, when you're able to get through that and put that behind you, that's when you can put that no win-win situation behind you. And I think that will help you then get over this loss. Now, I'm just looking at how can I extend onto this further using another deck, and what is calling to me is my heart chakra deck. Now, my heart chakra deck gives great insight in terms of what we need for ourselves from an energetic standpoint, and so I'm just going to focus on what you need for yourself in terms of this reading. Now, Serena Tarot reading. I just finished talking about ambush reading and how it's inappropriate to ambush people with readings, and there you are on my broadcast ambushing my viewers. It's not appropriate. Hold on. Goodbye. Anyone else? What I mean by ambush reading is when somebody is not expecting a reading and you just go up to them and say, hey, I was drawn to you, or I have a message for you, and you didn't even ask. I see that as ambushing someone. The people who came to my live to see either the tarot talk or to receive a reading or to watch the readings. And so I feel like I have the intention to, I ask permission and get interest, and those are the only people I give readings to, are the people who've approved it. And I did an entire tarot talk topic on this previously. If you're interested, check it out on a previous tarot talk. I keep all the recordings available on my website as well as on my Facebook, and it's all about ambush readings and what that means. And if I see any more, I'll try to block them or catch them. I really apologize to my viewers that are putting up with that. Okay, Sheila. Back to Sheila. I'm going to focus on what you need for yourself in terms of the way the reading has come out here. I'm just reconnecting with your energy, Sheila, and charging the cards with that intention. Oh, there we go. That card was needed. Did you see that flipper card? And if you want to know more about flipper cards, I also talked about that in a previous tarot talk topic as well. So you have 3 suits that have come out, or sorry, 1 high arcana, 2 suits, and the 2 suits are, again, wands, the actions that are needed. I think what you need for yourself is to really take this important action, whatever it's demanding here. Sheila, this is suggesting no need to reach out to others. I think what it really says is you can do this. You have what it takes You don't need the help of other people to do this. If it was this way, it would be like, see how these hands are propping this person up and they're just relying on those supports. It's really like the card is even called reaching out. It's really about taking that action, reaching out. 3 in numerology is about communication, and the color around the card is about fire, actions taken. When it's reversed in the way that it's came out for you, it's saying don't communicate to others for support. Look inside. Look for the inner support, the inner guidance. You are strong and able and capable, and that's what this card means when it's reversed. It also says that you don't need to actually put in a huge dedicated effort. I think what this is really saying is sit back, take your time, breathe, calm, and focus. I think if you put too much effort into this, you could extend or be too forward on it, or there's a possibility of taking too much action. I don't think you want to tire yourself out or be overly creative. I hope that makes sense. Hi, Tamara. I'm just noticing your message there. Nope, you're next, actually. I'm just working on Sheila's reading right now. And then I'm moving to Tamara. And then after Tamara is Lindsay, then Elizabeth, then Alex. Now, this brings me, Sheila, to the middle card. And the middle card is the Blossom card. Now, what this often represents is looking at this like your inner light is going to shine. You're going to blossom in your right. Either, there's something special about you, Sheila, either a skill or a talent or something like your inner light, and you're going to blossom and bloom. And that's the perspective that it's suggesting you need to take. Look at this like you're finding your inner power. You're going to blossom and bloom in this. Maybe that's why a dedicated effort isn't being suggested, because the effort and everything that needs to happen is within you, not necessarily on the outside, but on the inside. I hope that makes sense. Now, when I look at this reading as a whole, Sheila, the first thing that stands out for me is that there are fire, there are water, there are air, there are earth, every element's on the table. And when I see every element on the table in tarot, it often represents someone who, like, this is affecting every part of your life, not just compartmentalized into an individual place. I think what this is really saying, again, the advice that came out of this on what you need for yourself is to, go inward, work on the stuff that's happening for you, and that will lead you to a better place to find that love. I do hope that this is helpful. Oh, thank you for that confirmation, Sheila, and you're very welcome. So, Tamara, if you're still on the call, I'll do yours next. Unless, Sheila, if you have any questions at all, please let me know. I'm going to start to decharge the cards and put them away. Okay, I'm just watching for any other questions. And Tamara, let me know if you're there and if you have a question or topic you'd like to focus on. Otherwise, it can be left general. I'm just charging the first deck with intention to give me one card impression pull. That's just going to tell me about what's happening in your energy in the moment. And then I'll move to that deck for that topic or question. Now, if I had started charging your cards, I would have considered those flipper cards, but I hadn't started yet. So, Tamara, I'm now focusing on your energy and just charging these cards with that intention. And when I intuitively feel like I should stop, that's when I know that your card is available, such as now. And Tamara, what I got for you is the Hanged Man. This is the way it looks. Now, it did not come out reversed, even though the character is hanging upside down. This is the way the card originally appears. And what this often means is someone who feels stuck, but they're not really stuck. You can see there that the hangman, see his facial expression, he almost looks bored. He's not scared, he's not fretting. His position almost looks like he's trying to make himself as comfortable as possible in the situation that he's in. But he's not actually stuck. He's almost like waiting to be rescued. When the card comes out this way, if it was reversed, then I'd be suggesting, okay, you are actually stuck. There are not a lot of options. There's, you really are stuck like the hangman. But when it's this way, as it came out for you, Tamara, it means that there are options around you. You may not actually be stuck even if you feel held back or if you feel like you're stuck. Just know that you're not being hung to dry like the hangman. Let me know if that makes sense for you, and I'm going to move on to that general reading that you requested. So the general reading is just I'm going to pull 3 cards, and we're just going to look at how those cards speak to each other to get that message. Now, really interesting cards have come out. 2 higher arcana and a suit. I'm going to start at the suit and work my way to the higher arcana cards. But yes, we have the high priestess reversed again and the strength card not reversed. I'm going to talk about that because that's a really interesting combination, and I do feel like they're speaking together. But I'm going to start here. This is the Knight of Swords. Swords represent heavy thoughts and intellect in tarot. Oh, thank you, Tamara, for that message, letting me know that that resonates with you, with the Hangman card. With the Knight of Swords, swords in tarot represent heavy thoughts and intellect, and knights are the action takers. So when we take, the page, this is the Page of Swords, and page are the messengers. It's sort of like when we get into a new era or we take a new path. Pages, if you look at it in terms of the court structure in tarot, you have the king and queen, and they're the decision makers that affect the realm of the question or topic or subject. And then you have the knights, which are the action takers. And in order for the king and queen's orders to get to the knight, they rely on the page. The page is like the messengers that get the orders to the knight. The knights take action. And so I explain that because if the Page of Swords comes up, it means that you're getting into a new path, or there's some sort of like something new happening for you in terms of this heavy thought that's on your mind, okay? Now, the Strength card is not reversed, and the High Priestess card is. Now, I've already explained what this means when the High Priestess card is reversed in a previous reading tonight. It basically means that if I told you, it wouldn't happen, right? You have to go through the lessons of the experience that you're going through in order to reach the goal. The lessons are going to lead you there. You have this inner strength, Tamara, that you can trust and allow to guide you forward. I'm not talking physical strength. I like to point out that the person on this card is not holding the lion in a headlock. They are literally using their inner strength to tame the wild beast. And that's the kind of strength I'm referring to. The type of person you are is strong. And if you believe in that, I believe you'll be able to get through these lessons. And when you get through the lessons and you reach that destination, you're going to be looked at as being, in the high priestess position, which is like where people can look up to you for guidance and, you'll set an example. But in the meantime, it looks like this. You have to go through those lessons. Let me know how this resonates, Tamara, and I'm just going to focus on how I can extend on this reading further. Do you have a question about the situation that's happening here? I'm just thinking about which deck is calling to me, and for some reason, it's my alchemy deck. Now, my alchemy deck, this was a deck created by a very a mentor of mine, a very well, very what am I trying to say? An incredible numerologist and intuitive reader, Lindsay Knight, is who designed this deck. And so I'm just going to use it. I feel called to it, and I feel like it's just a message that you need to hear. And so I'm just going to focus on that, Tamara. What is the message that you need to hear tonight? Given that there's this path that you're obviously on with the High Priestess, and you have all this inner strength and this idea that's going to bring you into this new direction, perhaps, or whatever's heavy on your mind. Oh, I feel like this is ready. Okay, really interesting cards have come out. I'm just trying to read them in the way that they need to. I'm going to start here. This would be considered sort of a higher arcana card in the structure of this deck, and it is the Hermit, the life energy number, also considered the Prophet. And when this card is reversed, it often represents for me that someone needs to step out of their comfort zone in order to reach their goal. Sort of like you need to come out of your shell, so to speak. If you're the type of person that stays sort of introverted and to yourself, maybe you're private, or there's something like that where you're internal and you need to then come out and share more or be more lively, or maybe in the limelight perhaps, or there's something about this that is about coming out. And that's what that card often means to me, is you have to sort of come out of your comfort zone in order to reach the goal. Now, there's definitely some uncertainty with this card being not reversed. That, you know, it could be unexpected, or there could be things that you don't see coming, and that can create some anxiety or drama or perhaps angst. So just be careful of that. I think you want to just take each moment at a time. And that's where I get this, the 12-12 being reversed. I think that this isn't as easy as like a 1-2-1-2 kind of pattern. It's going to be more difficult than that. It's not going to be able, and I think that that goes hand in hand with the uncertainty card, that things are just going to sort of happen as they happen, and you just kind of have to complete these things as they happen. That would maybe be the lessons that this card is sort of offering to you, that it could be the fact that, you know, the lessons are just going to appear as they appear, and you just have to complete them and learn from them as they come, and that's going to bring development and enhancement and enlightenment to you. Does this make sense, Tamara? Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. I just saw your message there. The shamanic journey, absolutely. With the I could understand that with the hermit card being reversed, in the sense of that, going internal and coming out with what you've learned from that, and then the lessons that need to be learned along the way. If you're taking a shamanic journey, you certainly can't know the goal until you go through the lessons and that strength. Absolutely. Hi, Alexandra. Thanks for your message, and thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you so much, Tamara, for letting me do your reading for you. What I want to just draw, what draws my attention to this reading, is the amount of higher arcana that have appeared here. 4 of them, 3 of them reversed, 1 not. I think in order for you to find grounding, you must communicate with yourself. I think that's what that's really saying, with the 4 and 3 being reversed and the 1 being upright. 1 in numerology is about spiritual development, 3 is about communication, and 4 is about grounding. And so with that pattern on the table, I just think that goes along well with the journey that you're headed. I think look at this as a developmental journey. And you know, if this uncertainty bothers you, knowing what's coming and sorting out what could happen may help relieve some of that uncertainty, which could flip this card around. But in the meantime, it looks like this. I do hope that this is helpful, Tamara. Thank you for letting me do your reading for you. I'm just going to decharge and put away the cards, and then I'll move on to Lindsay, Lindsay, if you're still on the call, let me know. And if you have a question or topic you'd like me to focus on, or can be left general, you're very welcome, Tamara. Thank you for your message there. And the next reading is for Lindsay. Lindsay, if you're there, let me know. Hopefully we haven't lost you. And if you've already responded and it's just taking me a moment to see your message there, which sometimes there is a delay when it comes up, forgive me. Okay, decks are cleared and we are ready to move on. I just want to make sure that Lindsay is still on the call. Lindsay, let me know if you're still there. I noticed we've had a little bit of connection issues. I do hope that that hasn't interfered with the broadcast, or if anyone has had trouble hearing me or seeing me or connecting. Let me know in the chat if you've experienced any issues with the broadcast so far. I'm not sure I see Lindsay on the call, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to proceed with a general reading. This broadcast is recorded. It is saved onto my Facebook page as well as my website and can be reviewed later. And so, Lindsay, I hope you'll be able to review the recording after it gets posted to make sure that you are able to receive your reading tonight. And I'll message you later if I don't hear from you on the broadcast, just to let you know that it's available there and at what time you can skip ahead to get your reading. So Lindsay, I'm focusing on your energy, and I just feel drawn to doing 2 cards. It almost flipped over, and I was like, no, I have to go with that. So I'm going with it. 2 cards are reversed, a wand and a cup. Excuse me. Now, these are 2 very different messages. I almost get the sense that they're not speaking together and that this is about maybe 2 different things. So keep that in mind, Lindsay, as I read this, okay? The first one is about some sort of disruption to a happy lifestyle or happy home. 4 in numerology is about grounding, and you can see the 4 wands here. Wands represent actions in tarot. When we take actions in terms of grounding, it can often be about what we need for that grounding, the actions that need to be taken. And that can often be like what makes us happy because it's grounding. And 4 represents foundation. And so it can often be about like happy home or lifestyle if it came out like this. Now, when it comes out like this, reverse, which is the way it came out for you, it often represents something that is disrupting or in the way of, or something needs to be done first in order to achieve this or maintain this. So just know that there may be some disruption in terms of this environment, this happy environment. Now, the next card that came out with this is the 5 of Cups. And we've seen this card already tonight, and I just want to point out that the 5 of Cups is often about getting over a loss, putting something behind you, moving on from the loss. If it was this way, it would be about being in that loss, experiencing the loss, feeling the loss, because the Cups are about emotion in tarot. When it's reversed, it means that you've gone through that, you've expressed it, you've worked it, and you can now put it behind you. With this loss that you can put behind you, and then there's this disruption, I almost get a sense that these are 2 different situations, maybe happening coinciding or at the same time, but not necessarily connected together. Let me know how that makes sense to you, Lindsay, if you're on the call, or feel free to reach out to me through my website or my email or my Facebook. I'm just going to focus on your energy and do a general reading since I haven't seen your messages tonight. And if I'm not receiving your messages, I do apologize. I do hope that if you're on the call, that I am receiving all the messages. I am seeing other messages, so I do hope that yours would come through as well. Thank you so much for joining us, Tamara. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Elizabeth, for confirming that you haven't experienced any issues so far. I appreciate that. I've seen some other messages about some freezing frames or that the audio may not have been matching my lips. So I apologize for that. I think there has been some connection issues this evening. So Lindsay's suits have all come out. Pentacles, wands, swords, and of course we have cups in your energy. This is affecting every area of your life. It's just a first impression that I get as soon as these cards come out. Even if these are not connected to each other, they are still affecting probably each other and still affecting everything else. Now, I'm just going to go in the order that they came out, okay? This is the Seven of Swords, and it really represents this intellectual process that you're having. And this 7 in numerology is usually about spiritual development. And when we have spiritual development with the heavy thoughts and intellect, it can often be about you know, what thoughts serve you and what thoughts don't, and working through that in order to achieve that spiritual development. So when there's thoughts that don't serve you, we need to let them go, disconnect from those thoughts and leave them behind, and only take forward the ones that serve you. So you can see here, that's what this person's done. Swords represent heavy thoughts in tarot, and he's picked 5 of them, as much as he can carry, and he's moving forward and he's leaving some behind. I think what you need to do, Lindsay, is you have so much on your mind, you need to decide what is on your mind and what you need to let go of, and not overwhelm yourself with everything that's been on your mind. And that speaks with the next card. Working through all the tasks that need to be completed is what you've been doing, and now you're starting to get to the end of that, where you're no longer overwhelmed by all the tasks that are on you, or the expectations. When the card normally looks like this, that would be like all these tasks, and you can see this person here, he's carrying way more than he can handle, and so he can be overwhelmed by the amount of tasks. When it's reversed, it means that he's been slowly working through these tasks, and he can eventually feel like a lightened load. And so this is for you, that you are reaching that point where you can now, you know, feel like your shoulders will be lifted or lighter, and putting in the work now will reap the reward later. That's what this card often represents. This is the 7 of Pentacles. Pentacles in numerology is about the needs, what we need for ourselves. And 7 in numerology, again, as I explained, is about spiritual development. Development in ourselves. And so in order to get to that development, we have to put in the work. This is suggesting you put in the work now, you'll reap the reward later. And where I get that suggestion is it uses the imagery of a farmer. Farmers, in order to harvest and reap reward, they have to do all the work first. They have to plant the seed, they have to nurture the plant, they have to mature the plant, then the fruit has to form, then they have to ripen the fruit before they can pick it. They harvest it, then they reap the reward later, after all the work has been put in. And that's what it's suggesting. You have to put the work in now to reap the reward later. And what this suggests well is that you've been completing these tasks, and so I think the work that you have been putting in will lead to reward. I hope this is helpful. Just make sure that you're not holding too much on your head. I do get an impression from this card that you may be overthinking things or having too much to think about all at once. So just deciding what isn't important, or prioritizing your thoughts as in terms of what deserves your attention right now and what can you hold off till later, so that you're not looking at it all at once. I think all at once may be the overwhelm, or having too much to carry. And when I bring that into your energy now, I'm wondering the disruption and the loss, being disconnected, that could have to do with just so much on your mind and so much happening all at once, perhaps. I'm wondering if it would be helpful to extend further using my heart chakra deck. This deck gives great insight in terms of what we need for ourselves, and if I apply that to your reading, Lindsay, it may help with good advice moving forward. So I'm just going to focus on that for you. I haven't seen any messages from you yet, so I will be messaging you and reaching out to you after this broadcast, just to make sure that you're aware of how to view and watch this reading for you. This is going to be a well-deserved reward when you reach the goal. 9 in numerology is about reaching that goal. And the color around this card tells me that it's a fire card, which represents wands in tarot, which is about the actions that need to be taken. You put in the work to reach the reward later, and this is saying it's going to be a very well-deserved reward. So look at that in terms of the work that you're doing now, and that it's going to be worth it to put in that effort. The next two are higher arcana cards, and I do think that they're speaking together in terms of their message, and so I'm just going to show you them both quickly. This is the Observe card and the Detach card, and the Detach card is reversed and the Observe card is upright. Now, with the Observe card this way, it often represents your perspective on the world and changing your perspective. How you view your situation will make a huge difference in terms of how you approach it, how you solve any challenges regarding it. It's how you view it. Your perspective, your perception of is going to make a difference. So make sure that you're looking at this from the right perspective. You may want to look at this from different perspectives to confirm for yourself that you have the right approach. It's saying don't detach. That's why this is reversed. If it was this way, it'd be like there's something you need to let go of, something you need to detach. What's really interesting about this is that it's saying don't detach, but it's saying work out what thoughts you need to take with you and what you don't. I think what this is really saying is don't let go of the things that you can't handle right now. You need to put them aside, sort of like a back burner, and let them simmer, and then focus on what needs to be done for yourself. And get back to them when you've done those things. One moment, please. There we go. So just keep that in mind. You want to make sure that you work through those heavy thoughts, not so that you get rid of them, but so that you decide what needs your priority first and what needs to wait till later. Don't let go of the things you need to hold off on. I also think that there's some sort of message about not losing your hope, because what's really standing out for me is the dove and how the dove is being released. And I just think don't detach. When I see the dove and the dove stands out for me, it's often about like not losing your hope. Don't detach from that. I do hope that this is helpful, Lindsay, and that it makes sense. If you're able to watch this, please feel free to get back to me with any questions, or if I can elaborate further on the messages that were received here. Thank you so much for requesting a reading from me, Lindsay, and I will be reaching out to you, as I said, just to make sure that you're aware that this reading is available to you on the recorded broadcast after it's been posted. And next I'll move to Elizabeth. Elizabeth, if you're still on the call, let me know. And if you have a question or topic you'd like me to focus on, otherwise I can leave it general as I have tonight. And then after Lindsay, after Lindsay is Elizabeth, and then after Elizabeth is Alex. And Alex is my 6th reading for tonight. And anyone else who may have been interested in a reading tonight, just let me know that you didn't get a chance, but you were interested, and I will add you to my draw that's happening on Monday, October 21st. Thank you, Elizabeth, for letting me know you're there. Absolutely, I'll do a general reading. As always, I'm just going to start with a 1-card impression pull from this deck. It's going to tell me where you're sitting energetically in the moment. And then I'll move on to this deck where I'll focus on that general reading. Oh, these are quick. Lindsay, now, we've talked about this card in Lindsay's reading, and this has come up for your energetic stance now, Elizabeth. It's about putting in the work to reap the reward later. And when it's reversed, it can mean one of two things. Either you've already done the work, and so the work doesn't need to be completed, and so you're reaching that point where you can reap the reward, or you're not getting to the work. Either way, the work's not being done. And there's 2 reasons why the work isn't getting done. One is you're not doing it, or it's already done. So how do you associate? Which message just sounds more clear to you, Elizabeth? Do you have all this work to do that you're not getting to, or have you already completed the work and you can now reap the reward? Now, sometimes the cards can come out this way as if there's some sort of disruption to the amount of work that needs to get done, or there's a delay in the process, perhaps, or maybe the process wasn't what you expected it to be. There is that sort of feeling coming out of the cards. So let me know how you resonate with that message, okay, Elizabeth? And I'm gonna move on to your general reading here. I'll pull 3 cards from this deck and we'll look at how those cards speak to each other to get that general reading. Okay, 3 cards, all suits, 2 cups, and a wand, which means action and emotion. Now, I'm just going to go in the order that they came out. We had this card come up before, which is really interesting. Getting a lot of repeat messages tonight. And, you know, again, there's no coincidences in tarot. Sometimes those are just the messages that need to be heard. This is about disruption to some sort of happy process or happy home. What's really standing out for me, though, this time is the way that these rods are connected with, like, the boughs of flowers. And so I really think that this is about a disruption to some sort of flow or connectedness or something of that regard. When this card is reversed, this is the 6 of Cups reversed. I like to call this the Memories card. When the Memories card is reversed, it's often about not connecting with those memories. You may be detaching from something in your past, or you may be letting go or forgetting about something in regards to these memories. And this Bliss card is reversed, meaning disruption or you know, when you solve what's getting in the way of that happiness, this card will flip around. But in the meantime, it looks like this. With these 2 cards being side by side and this not connecting or having perhaps negative memories, I'm wondering, this seems like a very difficult journey with all 3 cards reversed in the way that they've shown up here, Elizabeth. Let me know how you resonate with that. But I would see this as a very challenging situation or very difficult journey moving forward, almost like a difficult path to take. I'm not sure why the Memories card is reversed unless you don't have an experience to associate with this, if this is a brand new experience perhaps. Let me know how that makes sense to you. There does seem to be this chaotic energy about this reading, and the 4 and the 6 are kind of standing out for me as well. Now, 4 in numerology is about grounding, and 6 is about our interaction with others. I'm not sure what it is. There's something about these cards that are specific. When I look at this reading as a whole, however, you have Wands, you have Cups, you have Pentacles. The Swords haven't appeared yet. And so I think you've got the right mindset of whatever's happening here, Elizabeth. You're thinking the right way about this. The messages that you needed to hear were about the emotions that are involved and the actions that need to be taken, and to look at this from the perspective of what you need for yourself. I do hope that that makes sense. I'm wondering how I can extend further into this reading. I think given that the depth of the challenge, I'm going to look at my Witch's Wisdom deck. Now, this deck often digs deep for the messages that need to come to the surface. And I'm going to pull 3 cards from this deck, and we're just going to look at how those cards speak to each other to find out the messages that you need brought to the surface from deep within. Thank you, Elizabeth, for confirming that this makes sense. I appreciate that you understand what it's referring to. I'm just going to focus on the way this reading has gone so far, and I'm just going to pull 3 cards from this deck, and I'm asking this deck, to bring out the messages that you needed to hear today. What needs to come to the surface from deep within? So a higher arcana and 2 suits, an air card and a fire card. Air card is equivalent to swords, which is all about the heavy thoughts and intellect. And fire card is equivalent to wand, which is often about the actions that need to be taken. And I'm going to start there. This is the Ace of Fire. It represents coming up with new actions, creating actions that you need in order to reach your goal. It uses the depiction of an anvil here because anvils are used for blacksmiths to really create and complete and do wonders. And that's really standing out for me as the anvil on the card. And so this is really about actions in order to create the foundations, or to take the process you need, or to get into that right procedure. But this is about creating action, new action that needs to be completed. The 8 of Air reversed often represents like already seeing what you need to see. If it was this way, it would mean that you need to observe carefully and see what you need to see. It uses the description of like an eagle flying high in the sky. Eagles have excellent sight, and they can see really far in order to see the smallest detail, including their prey. And that's often how they catch their prey, is once they see it from a distance high above, they then come up with a strategic plan to catch that prey. And they're very successful at this. And so it's about looking ahead, observing the surroundings, creating a plan, and following through. When it's reversed, it means that you don't need to observe. You already see it. I think you already see the big picture and what's happening here. And so just, keep your eyes open and keep yourself in tune with that you're aware. Now, the Priestess card reversed. This is coming across like you may not understand your own inner strength, that you could be a lot stronger inside. And when you realize that, this card will flip around and you'll be as the priestess. When it's reversed like this, it's often for someone who doesn't understand their own ability, or they may not have as much confidence as they should. So just know whenever this card comes out, it's usually for someone who has that confidence. When it's reversed, it means you may not believe in it. But when it's this way, it means that you do believe in it. You understand that confidence and you're sitting in it. You're secure. You're developing. So just know that that's obtainable. You just have to believe in yourself. And with the fire card presenting itself in the next part of the reading, it just tells me that this is affecting every part of your life. I see all of the suits and elements appearing on the table. It's more about the emotional process than anything else. Now, with only one higher arcana appearing on the table, it's really about that individual development. And that makes sense to me because the higher arcana that appears is the Priestess card. Reversed or not, it means that you have that ability, you have that in you. It's whether you believe in it or not. I do hope that this was helpful, Elizabeth. Let me know if you have any final questions. Oh, thank you so much for that confirmation, letting me know that this is spot on. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Just lets me know that I'm on the right track. I do hope that this was helpful. I'll decharge and put away the cards, and then I'll move on to Alex. Alex, if you're still on the call, let me know. Thank you so much for your patience and waiting for your reading. You've had to wait the longest. I really appreciate that. Let me know if you're still on the call, and if you have a question or topic you'd like me to focus on. Oh, there you are. Hi, Alex. Thank you so much. Let me just read your message. Oh, you're very welcome, Elizabeth. Thank you for that message. I'm just reading Alex's message that came up here. It looks like I'm staring at the screen weird. It's just because I'm reading. Oh, okay. I can focus on that for sure. excuse me. I'm going to start with a 1-card impression pull from this deck, and that's going to tell me, Alex, where you're sitting energetically in the moment. And then I'll move to this deck, and that's where I will focus on the outcome of your job interview today. Now, Alex, the card that I get for you in your energy in the moment is the Knight of Wands. Now, this is usually important action that's been taken, taking the important actions that you need to. Wands in tarot represent actions, and knights are the action takers. So when we have the action taker talking about the actions that are needed, it's usually really important action or really important tasks that need to be completed. And you're taking those tasks. If this card was reversed, it would mean that you'd be having trouble taking those tasks. Oh, sorry, Alexandra. This was for Alex Garcia. He had put his name in the list earlier in the broadcast to receive a free reading tonight. If you're interested to receive a free reading, I did use up all of my free 6 spots that were available tonight, but let me know if you were still interested, because I can add you to the draw that's happening on Tuesday, November 19th. Sorry, the draw that's happening on Monday, October 21st, in order to have a chance to receive a free remote reading over Zoom if you're interested. Alex, I'm just focusing on the outcome of your job interview. Now, I should mention that this would be more like a future forecast, and so I should mention that quite often future is liquid, not set in stone, and so the actions or decisions that you make between now and then can change the outcome of the reading. But I'm going to focus on what that looks like from this perspective, from this point moving forward. And 3 cards have come out. One's a High Arcana and 2 suits. The suits are Cups and Pentacles, and the High Arcana is the Hermit card reversed. And I'm going to talk about that in a moment. I'm going to start here at the 8 of Pentacles reversed. This is often about not getting to the work yet. When you get to the work that needs to be completed, this card will flip around and you'll be getting off to the work. I think what this is really explaining is what you're feeling now in terms of this position, because if like waiting to do the work, this card often represents the work that needs to be completed, whether it comes up or reversed or not. When it's reversed, it means that the work hasn't gotten started yet, or you haven't gotten to the work yet. And when it's this way, it means you're getting to that work. But there's work that needs to be completed either way. And because it's reversed, I think it's just speaking to you haven't done the work yet, right? You haven't done the job yet. Now the 7 of Cups is what's next, and this is often about emotional overwhelm. The advice that often comes with this card is if you separate each emotion as if they're like emotions are presented or depicted in tarot as cups. And so if you separate the cups and look at each cup at a time, compartmentalizing each emotional state and working through that emotion, and then eventually you can put that beside and you can go into the next one, and it may be less overwhelming to do that individually than to look at it all at once. I think what this is really speaking about is the potential for this job could be overwhelming perhaps, or the options in which each cup represents could be overwhelming. All the different emotions that you're going through in terms of this. Now, with the Hermit card reversed, this often represents someone who's no longer being the hermit, coming out of your shell, so to speak, really putting yourself on the outside. That makes sense to me. If you had an interview today, you're going to have to really, prove yourself. You can't go into an interview being reclusive. You really need to present and showcase yourself. Now, what's really interesting is I asked the cards about this job the outcome of your interview, and it's really giving me, I think it's really pointing me to the process now and what you're going through. Let me know if that makes sense to you, Alex, if you feel that as well, that this is really what you're feeling now, this overwhelm of emotion with not getting to the task yet, and then, you know, presenting yourself on the outside as opposed to being within. I'm going to extend on this further to look at the future. Tarot often will tell us how to get to the future as opposed to what the future exactly is going to be sometimes. And I have a feeling that's what's going to be presented here. I'm going to look at this from a perspective of my Zen deck. You know what? I'm being called to a different deck. Where's my other deck? Here it is. My pagan deck. I'm going to use my pagan deck. Now, this deck gives great interaction in terms of the balance that's required. It uses the depiction in the card graphics as a balance between ritual life and modern life. And I'm going to use that as an example of the outcome of your interview. What is the balance that is created in terms of this interview? I want to know the association of the outcome of the interview. I feel like one of the cards already flipped out, so I'm just going to go with that. I'm just going to pull 2 more cards. So Alex, sword, wand, pentacles, you have cups in here. It just tells me that this affects every area of your life, that this job could probably be potential or make a difference for you. And I'm just going to go in order that they came out, okay? Well, sort of, because the one card popped out, and I feel like that's the more important message, but I'm going to lead myself to there, okay? And then go in the order that these 2 cards came out. Excuse me. This is the 4 of Swords. Did not come out reversed. 4 in numerology is about finding grounding. Swords is about heavy thoughts and intellect. I think you're going to find grounding in what you're thinking about. Okay? The 4 of Wands is often about finding grounding in the actions that we take moving forward. If you're going to find grounding in the actions that you take and the ideas that you have on this, or what's heavy on your mind, I could see this as being a positive outcome. And that's what leads me to the next card, which is the 10 of Pentacles. 10 is often a repetitive cycle that needs to be repeated. And Pentacles is about our needs, what we need for ourselves. And what's really standing out for me is how this person is sort of rummaging through. It looks like it'd be like a storage bin or something, and they're looking through the things that they have and the things that they may be making decisions on the things they need. I think that this is going to be beneficial for you, even if you don't get the job, if that makes sense. It's going to give you a lot of grounding in what you're thinking, and a lot of grounding in the actions that you've taken. I think that this does speak positive, though. I mean, there is a mixed message in here, though. I need to pull one more card, just to be sure that I want to narrow down this feeling that I have about this question. I am going to focus on the interaction that's needed. I'm going to ask my Zen deck for one card to explain the interaction of what I'm sensing here. I just want to narrow down the potential for the outcome. And it's going with the flow card. Again, it's kind of speaking to the position you're in moving forward. going with the flow. I think, you sort of have to go with the flow at this point. You've already had the interview. You're going to hear back from them, right? You kind of have to go with the flow of that. I would not hesitate to be sure that you take the actions that you need to. Follow up with the interviewer to say, hey, I really appreciated my time with you, make a good impression with them perhaps, or that, you're thinking positively about this. I think that there still seems to be actions now that you feel like you need to take. I'm not sure what those actions are. I'll leave that up to you. But in terms of the outcome of this job interview, because you find grounding in what you're thinking and grounding in the actions that you take, I think you can feel proud of yourself for taking that interview, and doing what you need to, and how you thought about this, and the Ten of Pentacles, reaching the goal of what you need for yourself, speaks highly in terms of. Oh, there you go. Thank you so much for that confirmation that you've already been sort of on this. If you feel like this is confirming, in terms of like the advice that was given, then see that as, taking the right steps, and that you're in the right mindset, or you're doing the appropriate thing. You're already following through with some of the advice that the tarot reading is suggesting. So I think go with that. I think you're going to make a good impression in this. The Ten of Pentacles is a little concerning for me, though, because it's usually a repetitive cycle. And so if you've been going for job interviews and not get it, go for job interview, not get it, go for job interview, not get it, then that could be the repetitive cycle. However, if this is like a one-off, or you went for a job interview, and it hasn't been that repetitive cycle, what is the repetitive cycle that needs to be looked at in terms of your needs that's happening? I would look at that very closely and keep that in mind. Yes, it's coming. It's definitely coming across as prosperity, because it's the jewels and the jewelry that really stand out for me in terms of the image and the graphics itself. I do hope that this is helpful, Alex. Is the first in 5 years. Okay, then that speaks positive to me. Then if you haven't been going for like interview, then the Ten of Pentacles could represent the beginning of a new cycle, or reaching the goal. Thank you for clarifying that. That makes sense to me then. I do want to wish you well on that venture. Let me know if you have any questions about how this has turned out. Oh, you're very welcome, Alex. I do see your message there. Thank you for getting a reading from me. And thank you, everyone, for getting a reading from me tonight. And anyone else who may have been interested to receive a reading but you didn't get in, I will be reviewing the broadcast after, and if I see that someone requested but didn't get it, I will automatically add you to the draw for that chance of a 1 in 5 chance to receive a free remote reading over Zoom. You're very welcome, Alex. I see your message there again. Thank you so much, everyone, for viewing and coming to my Tarot Talk Live event. The next Tarot Talk Live event happens on Tuesday 19th at Tuesday, November 19th, 2024 at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because daylight savings will end by that point. And also check out the information on my Spirit Talk Live event, which is happening on Saturday, November 9th, 2024, which will also start around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're interested to get involved in that workshop, reach out to me. The workshop itself is $25 to participate. It takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours. It's a lot of fun for everybody who gets involved. I've done it a few times online and twice in person. And there will be another in-person event coming up in May, roughly, around the springtime. in Guelph, Ontario, but I'm still working on those arrangements. So watch for my website, staffordtarot.com, for those details to come out soon. I will be releasing the new dates and markets and events and festivals for 2025. So check that out on my website. And so much more on my website. Like I said earlier, I really can't mention my website enough. There's so much there to discover. I can't get into it all. There's just so much there. So if you're interested in tarot and you want to learn for yourself or look at some other readings or receive readings for yourself, there's all sorts of free reading opportunities available on my website, including these free live events. All that information's there. Just check the upcoming event section. So the next Tarot Talk Live event, I will be talking about following your intuition within readings. What does that look like? What does that mean? If you just go by the symbolisms in the cards, that's fine, but there could be much more information available to you to refine the reading further if you follow your intuitive senses. And so I'll get into that next time in the next Tarot Talk Live event on Tuesday, November 19th. Again, it'll start at 8 p.m. I will be posting an event on Facebook, so check for that. If you select that you'll attend the event, you'll be notified when I go live, and you can get into that list for the next free reading opportunities. Thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate it. I wish you all well, bright blessings, and take good care. See you again soon.